Hi everyone, welcome to Tuesday Talks with Darlene. I'm Darlene from the Aligned Path with Darlene, and I love doing talks. Now, this one may get controversial and I may go on a little rant because I have actually lived this. I've actually experienced this, and this is why I need to talk about it to help you understand. Today, I'm talking about you are not your business. You are not your business. And I'm going to just keep repeating that. Don't put your identity into your business, and don't put your business into your identity. Now, the reason I'm talking about this is because that's what I did when I was in the medical field. That was my identity. It was so my identity. Now, I'm going to talk about later on, talk about the signs that may be coming up for you to understand that you've become your business and it's become you. You're together. There's like no separation. Now, think about it this way. You're not your business. You're not your chair. You're not your pen. You're not your relationship. You're not your ruler. So why do you think you are your business? Why do you think that? It's just something to journal on, something to really look at. And as I said, I became the medical field. I became the nurse. I became the student paramedic. I became the surf lifesaver. That was my identity. I introduced myself as, I'm Darlene, people might meet me. And I would say, I'm Darlene, I'm your registered nurse for today. Instead of saying, I'm Darlene, I'm looking after you today. I did actually say that because that was my identity. Now, when I actually left, because I had to leave the medical field, like I just had to, and I went into identity crisis because I didn't know who I was. I had no idea who I was. And it meant that I got depressed, or I had symptoms of depression. I had symptoms of complex PTSD. I had symptoms of anxiety. I did actually end up isolating myself. I end up doing all of the signs that come with identity crisis. And the same thing can happen in your business. If you believe you are your business, what happens when that disappears? You cannot predict what is going to happen in the future. I didn't predict 2023 for me. I did not predict. That was the most challenging year. I'm still getting teary about most challenging year for me. I didn't predict any of that. Yet it was the biggest personal growth I've had, and it was good, but I didn't predict that. So how can you predict what's going to happen in the future? And if you are so tied, just imagine this is your business. If you are so tied to your business and it disappears, who are you? Think about when relationships break up and you've had that identity, what happens? You lose yourself. Women say it all the time. Mothers say it all the time. Their children leave and they've got to relearn who they are because their identity was their children. It's the same thing with your business. If you're so tied up, then yes, you can have issues after, something happens to your business. If you need to give it up for some reason or it's taken from you, as I said, you don't know what's going to happen. Now, I've actually, I posted this in a group and it took off. And there was both sides. People going, well, yes, I am my business and my business meets my identity. And, if you want to believe that, that's okay. But as I said, there are so many ways that you can be tied to an identity that if you lose it, you've got to relearn who you are. You can see I'm so passionate about this. It's like, as I said, I have been through this. I've been through identity crisis. And it's only because, and I'm getting teary about this, because it was hard. The only reason I came through it was because of my psychologist, and I did a diploma of counselling. And that diploma of counselling is where I learned about identities and grief and different forms of grief. And so I re-went love it. I went through grief again in regards to my identity because I'd left nursing, and because I'd left that, then there was no me. So, identity crisis, grief, got some help with my psychologist. Then I went and did diploma of counselling, learnt that I had identity in the medical field. And then I realised that there's different forms of grief. So I went through that again. And I don't want that for you. That is why I'm so passionate about this. So again, you are not your business. You are not your pen. You are not your chair. You're not your relationship. You have a relationship with your business, but it's not you. It's not your identity. Now, signs that you may believe that you're your business and have this identity, excuse me, these are only some signs, and you may or may not have them, but just think about it. I really want you to think about what it means to really believe that your business is your identity. I really want you to think about that. Now, the first sign is that you have no me time or little time. You may be thinking, but hang on, I go out. Where do you go out? Do you go out to meetups? Business. Do you go out to courses, retreats, workshops? Business. If it's related to business, that's business. Where's the me time? Now, if you're in a relationship, again, where's the me time? Think about that. Now, yes, I have a lot more me time because I'm not in a beautiful relationship at the moment. And, I'm beautifully blessed that I do have me time. And I needed to understand this so I could actually talk about it as well. I haven't talked about it until now because I didn't understand as deeply as I'm understanding now. You transform yourself in different settings. Now, this is one that when I was researching all of this, because I love to research, it's my little thing. And I realized I did that. I transform myself in all different settings. When I walked into that hospital, I was the registered nurse, or when my last job, clinical nurse educator, that's who I was. Take notice. I'm the clinical nurse, I'm the nurse, I'm the paramedic, etc. Take notice. I would walk into a setting with, being with my friends, and then I could really be me. I was different. And so transforming yourself means you're putting on masks. You're having different parts of you. Now, yes, there's private parts that we don't want, excuse me, private parts we don't want to come out. And, there's private parts that I haven't told anybody. But my dearest and closest friends know so much about me because I'm comfortable with them. They're my best friends. So I'm able to be with them. When I work on my business, as you can see, this is me. I have really come out as me. I've really shone who I am now. I'm not putting on a mask. I do say, as you heard me, I've had symptoms of depression, CPTSD, anxiety, all of that. I have had those symptoms, and that's why I talk about it, because I want it out there. And that's why I'm saying that you transform yourself in various settings. How can you show up more as you and not feel that you've got to transform yourself? Think about all of the business people on social media. How many of them are not showing up as themselves? Now, I was watching someone on Instagram. I'm not going to say his name right, so I'm going to see if I can find his Instagram page and tag it, because his child, he was doing a live stream talking about somebody else. I'm talking about him talking about somebody else, and his child entered. Now, he did not get upset at his child. He actually talked to his child while he was still live streaming, and it's one of the most beautiful things I've seen. Now, I don't have children, and that's for a reason. Yet, for me, it touched me really deeply because he didn't redo that live stream. He showed up as him. He's a father. That's not his identity, but he's a father. He's also a business person. He was doing a live stream on Instagram as a business person. His child entered, and he still kept that live stream going while he was chatting to his son. Now, it was only like a minute, maybe a minute or something, yet what he did was so beautiful. He didn't transform himself. He did not transform himself. That is who he was. Now, one of the biggest ones that I actually did, especially when I first started my business, was I sought approval from others. I needed someone to tell me everything. I needed people to say, I don't really think that's a great, business name, or a great name for a challenge or webinar, or, I don't really think you're going to, only a while ago, I had a business coach tell me that my idea was the hardest business out there. Now, this person didn't know that I had already actually managed, it's my art. And at that stage, I had already sold paintings. And yet this person said it was the hardest business to be in. When I stopped seeking approval from others, I was able to show up more as me. And I was able to filter advice through my intuition and my business, because my business has an energy, which is why it's not me. It has its own energy. Trust me, it friggin' does. Um, it's, I'm psychic, so it's talking to me now. And so now when I get advice, even from people I'm paying, I still filter it through my intuition, my beautiful higher self, my business. I filter it through that first to see if it sits with me. I'm not seeking approval from others because, quite frankly, I don't give, you know what I mean. Now, your thoughts are filled with negative thoughts. Oh my goodness, this was me. This was me so much. I was so tied up in my business and needing it to be successful that there were so many negative thoughts. Now, I would show up on video and I wouldn't watch it because I didn't want to see how I was, because I would have so many negative thoughts about it. There were just so many negative thoughts. And now I have so much beautiful awareness that when a thought comes in like this, I give it so much love, because I'm like, oh my goodness, there's something else that I can look at. Now, I don't necessarily have to look at it. Sometimes I do, and the awareness, and I love it. You can see I'm just excited now. In the past, I would have been like this. Oh my goodness. This is how it would have been. And now, because of the beautiful awareness and all of the work I've done, and I've done so much work, not just with psychologists, but also with beautiful spiritual stuff as well. I love my spirituality. I grew up in a beautiful religion. I have no qualms, nothing about it. I'm grateful for that religion because it helped me when I started getting into the metaphysical world. It actually helped me. I love it. Now, again, so I'm going to recap all of this. You are not your business. It is not your identity. Please remember that. You have a vision. It can give you purpose as well. You love it. Like you can see, I love my business so much. I love it. I'm talking to it all the time. You are not your chair. You are not really your relationship. You are not your pen, everything. And some of the signs that you have actually become your business as an identity is you have little or no me time. And that is a loss of sense of self-worth. Interesting, isn't it? You transform yourself in various settings. You are constantly seeking approval from others. And your thoughts are filled with negative thoughts. Not everyone, of course, not every thought is negative, but there are a lot more negative thoughts than positive. You might be putting yourself down more. This talk has been about you are not your business's identity. You are not your business. It is not your identity. I really appreciate you watching, because I know it's actually a longer video, probably one of the longest I've done. You can see I'm passionate about this. And I really appreciate you watching. Any comments, please, put them down below. If you want to turn around and say that, I'm the other side, I believe I'm my business, then please do. I am open to all aspects. This is my view. And as I said, I've had personal experience. And that is why I know my business is not my identity. Thank you again. And please, follow me on social media as The Aligned Path with Darlene.